Good morning. It's Petey with the All Utah Hockey Podcast. I've got my coffee. I've got my stats. It's time for Utah Hockey the morning after. Well, a huge win for the Utah Hockey Club last night, beating the Calgary Flames 5-1 at home at the Delta Center for their first regulation win since opening night. It was a really big night for Utah, and a lot of things went right for this team, but let's go right away and jump to the numbers. So let's get to the numbers on last night's game, because a lot of the things that we talked about on yesterday's show that needed to happen happened in the game last night. You look at their power play, the power play needed to come alive. The power play goes 2 for 4 against Calgary Flames last night. And more importantly, they were able to shut Calgary down on the penalty kill. Calgary goes 0 for 3 on their power play. Huge night for the Utah Hockey Club. Shots on goal, well, Calgary outshoots Utah 31-28. But one of the things you'll look at in the game from last night when it comes to the shots on goal, when Utah got in trouble, and there were a few times, 3-on-1s, breakaways, Connor Ingram was fantastic last night. And when the team did defend well, they didn't give up that second opportunity in front of the net. They didn't give up those tips and rebounds that they had been giving up the games prior to that. So Ingram was tough when he needed to be, and they defended the net front much better than they have in recent games. So that was a big, strong point for this Utah Hockey Club. And then you start looking at the shots and start looking a little bit deeper. Barrett Hayton leads the team with 5 shots on goal last night, which is great. But Keller, the guy they need to get going offensively. If Keller's on, this team is on offensively, and Keller ends up the night with 6 shot attempts. That's great. But who led the way? Matias Michelli and Nick Schmaltz, both with 7 shot attempts. And when Michelli is shooting the puck, he shot the other night, he gets 2 goals. Here's a guy that's going to need to add to that secondary scoring for this Utah Hockey Club. And I think Michelli is getting that confidence and getting the puck to the net. And I think that's the way he needs to play to help provide some of that secondary offense that this team so desperately needs. And you look at Nick Schmaltz, it's tough. He got taken away from the line with Keller, and he got demoted a line. And I think you see him now with Hayton and Michelli, and you see him now, he goes, hey, I got to pick it up. And I think he did so many good things in the game last night. Not only did Nick Schmaltz deliver the puck to the net extremely well, the other thing he did is he retrieved pucks. And I've always talked about Nick Schmaltz and his speed and his ability to make plays with his feet. When he's going and that motor is going, he is an elite skater. And you saw it last night in the game against Calgary, where he was able to steal pucks from the opponent, and he was able to pick off pucks and create a turnover and get the team going the other way. He has to play like this on a nightly basis. I think it's important that he gets that consistency back in his game. One other guy I think we have to talk about last night's game is Ali Mata, the guy that they bring in the trade from Detroit. Doesn't get to have a morning skate, doesn't get to practice, and we said they were going to ease him into the lineup. I said that on the pregame show, they're going to ease him into the game. Boy, howdy, they didn't. He played over 20 minutes in his first game as a Coyote. Only Sergachev played more minutes than Ali Mata last night in the game against Calgary. He was great, and he did just what you expected him to do. The score sheet says +1. He's really +2. He makes a play on Utah's second goal where he makes the pass, the breakup play. It's all him. Unfortunately, he goes for a change, and he's off the ice before Utah scores, so he doesn't get that plus. So he's really +2. I thought he was solid defensively, which is what you expect from number 2. You expect him to be good in front of the net. But what I was surprised at was his ability to come in off of the blue line. I wasn't ready for him to do that, especially in game 1, where you see him jumping in off of the blue line and helping participate in the offense. And I think when you watch the Utah Hockey Club, one thing they really tried to do last night was get their defense involved in the offense. And you see guys coming off, number 7, Kesselring comes off the back end, Sergachev, Lamoureux is coming in off the back end, even Ian Cole is coming in off of the back end. And what all of this leads to is defense adding to the offense. And when you go look at the NHL score sheet right now, the Utah Hockey Club is tied for 5th in points by defensemen. That's huge. I think you need to have your defensemen help provide points to get your offense going. And Utah's clearly doing that. And players that I didn't think were going to be adding to that offense, like Ian Cole, like Ali Mata, are doing that. So I think you can expect more to come from this back end. And I tell you what, Kesselring has been a huge surprise with that and his ability to add offense and get pucks up the ice. He got an assist again last night, and I think you're going to see him more often on the offensive side of the puck. And you saw Sergachev get his first goal. So Sergachev ends up the night with 3 points. So Sergachev is doing the things, again, we talked about yesterday. Sometimes you don't notice Mikhail Sergachev, but he finishes the night with 3 points, and it was a big key to this win over the Calgary over the Calgary Flames. But one of the other things we talked about yesterday is the return of Nick Bjugstad and what he means to this lineup. And I think it was very apparent in last night's game what he can add to this team. You look at off the faceoff circle, he's 50%. I think that's going to get better as the season goes on and he gets more accustomed to playing again in his regular role. We want to see him be above 50%. So I think that will continue to grow. And he needs to be strong in that faceoff circle. Well, Barrett Hayton in the faceoff circle, 8 wins, 2 losses, 80%. That's elite face-off. And we look at the percentage like that for Barrett Hayton, and he can dig in and play like that. That's really important that you have someone in the center face-off circle that can really help contribute to that. But what both of those players do, not only do they help in the middle of the ice, they help get to the net. And yesterday we were saying, what are we going to do for this Utah Hockey Club to help get more points and get them back on the score sheet? It's a team that struggled to score goals. They haven't been able to put up the numbers that they put up earlier in the season. What do they need to do? Well, one of the things we said is they needed to get points on the power play, which they did. But next, they needed to get to the net. And we talked about their ability to get to the net and have opportunities where the goaltender can't see. So we're going to show you a few pictures from last night's game that give you an idea what the heck that means. And it starts right with the first goal of the game. Let's take a look at the first goal. And this is Nick Bjugstad in front of the goaltender when Kerfoot takes a shot and gets the first goal of the game. Look at the goaltender for the Calgary Flames, trying to search and find the puck, trying to see his way around Nick Bjugstad. Can't see the puck, and you can't stop what you can't see. Huge play by Nick Bjugstad on that play from Kerfoot. And let's look at Lamoureux's goal. Who's in front of the net? Big Lawson Krause. Big 67 is in front of the goaltender here. He can't see. Can't stop what you can't see. Utah needs to get to the front of the net. And then you go to Sergachev's goal. Same thing. Look at Barrett Hayton. Look where Barrett Hayton is in front of the net. When their good players are getting to the front of the net and not allowing the goaltender to see, they are creating scoring opportunities. So now, we talked about them getting to the net. You can see how important it is to keep the goaltender from being able to see the puck. Take the goaltender's eyes away. That's the term we use. You take the goalie's eyes away and make him search for the puck. Utah was elite at that last night, and they're going to have to continue to do that if they want to continue to put numbers on the board. I think you're going to see that their high-skilled players getting more opportunity to score. I think you're going to see more from Gunther if he gets that. Cooley, you saw it on Keller's second goal. Unfortunately, it's taken back on goal interference. But again, it's Cooley going to the net. And I know Cooley and Gunther and Keller, you think of those skilled, smaller players that aren't be able to get to that perimeter. Well, Logan Cooley can. Logan Cooley can play with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. And he can play with that little extra drive. And he can get that area of the net. And I think on that line, if he's going to contribute offensively, you're going to look at number 9, Keller, and 11, Gunther, are the guys shooting the puck, and they're going to be the guys putting the puck in the net. I think you really have to look for Cooley to be one. He's got to be the guy to distribute the puck, be the playmaker, which he can do. Very elite passer. So that's one of his strengths, but he's going to have to find a way to get to the net. And when he gets to the net, not only is he going to help screen, but I think you're going to see Logan Cooley start to pick up some of those rebound goals and some of those dirty goals in that area right in front of the opposing goaltender. Now things get tough for this Utah Hockey Club, and you start looking at what they have with the schedule upcoming, and it is not easy. And it was important that they get this win before they head out on the road. They're heading to Vegas in a couple of days, and Vegas is a tough place. It's a tough building to play in. The crowd's in behind it, and it's hard to play there. And this is a big game to kick off this road trip. And then, of course, the natural progression from Vegas, let's fly to Winnipeg, because that's right on the way. Let's go from Vegas to Winnipeg, Manitoba. Winnipeg is right now one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. They are unbelievable at home. This franchise has struggled in Winnipeg, except with Karel Vejmelka. So don't be surprised if you see Karel Vejmelka get a start somewhere along on this road trip. He got a 50-save shutout there a couple of years ago. He's been very good in that building, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see Karel Vejmelka getting an opportunity on this road trip, because from Winnipeg, it goes to St. Louis, another surprise team this season, and the road trip finishes up in Nashville, a team that struggled out of the gate, but on paper, they're extremely good, and I think this is a road trip that's going to be really defining for this Utah club early. Now, when we talked to Bill Armstrong before the season, this is what he told us to expect. There's going to be ups and downs with a young roster that's still going through a rebuild. You're going to have nights that you go, oh, that's a great night, big win, like last night where they win 5-1. But there's going to be nights like against Colorado where you go, uh-oh, with a 5-1 loss. There are going to be those ups and downs. You're going to see players have up and downs. You've got Lamoureux, a young player. Kesselring's still a young player. You've got Cooley, Gunther. There's so many young players trying to intertwine into this relationship, the relationship within this team and get that chemistry. So you are going to see those up and downs. I think this is what Utah's going to be this season. So as a Utah Hockey Club fan, you can't get frustrated. You have to take the good when it's good, and you have to accept the bad when it's bad, and you have to be more even keel. And you have to go, okay, this is okay because this is the process to get this team to be a perennial playoff team. And that's the goal. That's the goal for Bill Armstrong. That's the goal for the ownership at SCG. That's what the coaches and the players want. You want to be a perennial playoff competitor and try to compete for a Stanley Cup. This franchise has not been that for a long time. Rebuilds are tough. They're almost there. So you just have to hang on. This is part of the process. So a big win. And let's see how this team can compete on the road. Sometimes things can surprise you when you look at a road trip and go, okay, they've got no chance on this road trip. Those are the road trips that might just turn things around. And you might get good goaltending. And you might have someone step forward that hasn't all season. And you go, oh, we're on the right track. So this is a big defining road trip for this team that right now is in the middle of the pack of the Central Division. And a team that we said right now, they're 2 points behind Minnesota and Dallas for second place. I know they got a few games in hand. And I know it's way too early to start talking about the P word, but they're in a good spot right now for this Utah Hockey Club. So just hang on, hang tight. There are so many good things ahead for the Utah Hockey Club. Well, I appreciate you joining me for the morning cup of coffee and kind of a quick breakdown of what went on last night against the Calgary Flames. Please make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel at @all_Utah Hockey so you don't miss any of these videos because you never know when one is going to come out. And make sure you subscribe to the channel on Twitter as well at @all_Utah Hockey. Thanks for joining me on this morning. Stay tuned for much, much more regarding the Utah Hockey Club. I'm Petey, and we'll see you at the rink.
We all silly like the mayor.